everyone, in this video we are going to determine the area of a triangle. So we're given a triangle here. These are the important information or variable that we need to know in order that we can get the area of a triangle. We need to know what the base is. We need to know what the measure of the height is. So these two, base and height, should be perpendicular to each other. Perpendicular means they have to form 90-degree angles. If they're not perpendicular to each other, or if they don't form 90-degree angle, then that means those two are not base and height. So it has to be perpendicular to each other. So the formula for the area of a triangle is area equals 1/2 of base times height. So whatever the value of the base is, multiply it to the height and then divide it by 2. So that means these two equations that we have here are equivalent equation. So you either multiply it by half or you divide it by 2. They mean the same thing. So let's take this first example right here. So looking at the picture that we have, this is the height and this is the base, and then they form 90-degree angle right there. So these two are perpendicular, so that means we can go ahead and solve for the area. So we use the formula, area is equal to 1/2 of base times height. Our base is 21, so I'm gonna write 21 centimeters times the height here is 17 centimeters. And so I multiply these two together. That would come out half of, that's going to be 21 centimeters times 17 centimeters is 357 centimeters squared, because you have a centimeter times centimeter is centimeter squared. You get half of it. You either multiply this by 0.5 or you divide it by 2, and the answer to this is 178.5 centimeters squared. So this is the area for that triangle over there. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. So in these two problems, we are doing it backwards. We're missing the x. So in this problem, we're missing the height. In this problem, we're missing either, you can take this as the base or the height, and this is the height. It doesn't really matter. So we're solving for the first one. So again, we set up the equation. Area is equal to 1/2 of base times height. So we plug values into the equation. So we know that the area is given to us. It's 350 inches squared. So I'm going to write 350 inches squared is equal to 1/2 of, our base is 25 inches. So I'm going to write 25 inches here, times our height is missing x. Now notice that there is a small square that is written in here. This height is actually located on the outside, since this triangle is an obtuse triangle. So the height doesn't have to be in the height doesn't have to be inside the triangle. It can be outside as well. So this is the height of the triangle. We represent it as x. So in this problem that we have here, we want to get rid of the 1/2 by multiplying both sides by 2. So we multiply this by 2. Once we multiply one side by 2, we do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to multiply this by 2. So from here, I can cross out the 2 and the 2. So these two gets crossed out. So then we are left with, multiply these two first. So that would be 700. 700 inches squared is equal to 25 inch x. So there's an x there. Now we want to solve for x. So then we are going to divide both sides by 25 inches. Divide this by 25 inches, so we can cross out the 25 and then the 25. Now notice that this is inch squared. Remember, if it's a square, there's two of them, so that there are 2 inches here. So then we take one of the inches here, so we're left with 1, and then we take the whole inch at the bottom, so we're left with just inch. So then the x here is, if you divide 700 divided by 25, is 28. That is in inch. So the leftover unit is inch. Did you get 28 inch for the first problem right here? Good. Perfect. Now let's move on to the third problem here. So it's pretty much the same thing. We write the equation for the area. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height. So we plug in the value. Our area is 20 kilometers squared. So that's 20 kilometers squared is equal to 1/2 of our base is x. So we can take this, it doesn't matter. The triangle can get flipped around, but we always remember that the base and the height, they have to be forming 90-degree angle. And we know that it's 90 because there's a small little square in the corner. That means they are perpendicular. So this is gonna be, we can take this as our base. So that's 8 kilometers times the height is x. So we take x. Again, we want to get rid of the fraction by multiplying 2 to both sides. So I'm going to multiply 2 on the right side. I will do the same thing on the other side to make them even. So from here, I can cross out the 2 and the 2. So I'm left with 40 kilometer squared is equal to 8 kilometer times x. Again, we want the side x, or we want the height x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 8 kilometers. I divide this by 8 kilometers. So then I cross out the 8 kilometers and 8 kilometers. Remember that kilometers squared, there are 2 of them. So I take one of these 2. So I'm left with 1, and then take this kilometer at the bottom. So I'm left with x is equal to 40 kilometers divided by 8 would be 5 kilometers. Did you get 5 kilometers as your value for x on the second problem? Good. Perfect. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!